Israel's deadly strikes shake Gaza. IDF launches new wave of attacks. Hamas commanders killed in chilling strikes. Is Hamas losing its grip on Gaza? The Israeli Defense Forces says it carried out a targeted airstrike in the Al-Shati area of Gaza, killing 4 senior Hamas commanders from the group's elite Nukba force. According to the IDF, all 4 were members of Hamas's Beit Lahia Battalion. The military identified the main target as Mohammed Hamdi, a Nukba company commander who the IDF says was actively advancing plans for attacks against Israeli forces. 3 platoon commanders were also killed in the strike. The IDF identified them as Samir, who the military says infiltrated Israeli territory during the October 7 massacre, Mohammed Al-Attar, who was allegedly involved in planning and carrying out attacks against IDF troops, and Mohammed Fathi, who the military says also participated in attacks and planning operations against Israeli soldiers. The IDF says the 4 commanders posed a direct and immediate threat to Israeli forces operating in the area, leading to the decision to carry out the airstrike. In another operation, an Israeli drone strike has killed the head of Gaza City's civil police force, according to Gaza's Ministry of Interior. The ministry said Colonel Jamal Abu Kamel, 43, was killed on Thursday after an Israeli drone fired 3 missiles at his vehicle on Al-Rashid Street, southwest of Gaza City. 2 others were also reportedly injured in the attack. Palestinian Red Crescent ambulance crews said Israeli aircraft targeted Abu Kamel while he was inside his vehicle. He was reportedly killed instantly, while several others were wounded and taken to Al-Shifa hospital for treatment. Earlier, the Israeli military said it had carried out a separate airstrike in the southern Gaza Strip, targeting what it described as a company commander in Hamas's military wing. The military said the strike took place in the Khan Yunis area and targeted the individual over allegations that he had planned attacks against Israeli troops. Israeli forces remain deployed across vast areas of the Gaza Strip, with the military saying it continues to act against what it describes as threats to its troops. Israel is intensifying its crackdown on Hamas' vast underground tunnel network in Gaza. The IDF says its forces are continuing operations to locate, expose and destroy tunnels allegedly used by Hamas to move fighters, store weapons and plan attacks. On August 19, IDF said 2 tunnels belonging to Hamas were sealed in the Gaza Strip. IDF's Gaza Division combat engineers were deployed to seal the tunnels, which had a combined length of more than 2 kilometers. Drone footage released by the IDF shows the tunnels running underground at length, packed with sandbags. For years, Hamas has built an extensive network of underground passages beneath Gaza, a system the Israeli military has described as a key part of the group's military infrastructure. According to the Israeli military, some of these tunnels are believed to run beneath densely populated areas and civilian infrastructure. The army says destroying the network is a key objective of its operations in Gaza, arguing that leaving the tunnels intact could allow Hamas fighters to regroup and launch future attacks. But the underground battlefield presents a major challenge. Tunnels can stretch for long distances, branch into multiple routes and contain booby traps, making operations inside them particularly dangerous for troops. This week, the IDF carried out a strike on a cafe near Gaza City's northern port, saying several Hamas commanders were meeting there to plan imminent attacks against Israeli forces operating in the Strip. According to reports, 6 people were killed in the strike, while at least 10 others were wounded. The IDF says the commanders were targeted as they allegedly gathered to plan attacks against Israeli troops. And this was not the only such operation. Last week, the Israeli Air Force also struck what the military described as a Gazan terror cell in Khan Yunis. According to the IDF, the cell was also planning and preparing an operation against Israeli forces. These strikes come as the IDF has been ordered to halt its broader attacks across the Gaza Strip. However, an exception remains for individuals identified as planning imminent attacks against Israeli forces. The Israeli military says it will continue to act against what it considers immediate threats, even as broader military operations in Gaza remain on hold. Donald Trump's envoy Jared Kushner met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as Washington steps up efforts to revive a Gaza peace plan that Israel has so far rejected. The meeting came after Kushner reportedly held talks with Hamas leaders. 2 weeks earlier, Hamas had endorsed the latest stage of Trump's Gaza plan. But Netanyahu has refused to back it, insisting that any settlement must ensure Hamas is genuinely disarmed. Kushner, who is also Trump's son-in-law, reportedly met Hamas's new leader, Khalil al-Hayya, in the Egyptian Mediterranean city of El Alamein. According to reports, Kushner demanded that Hamas verify that it is giving up its weapons, one of Netanyahu's key conditions. A Hamas official, meanwhile, said the group told Kushner that it remained committed to the Gaza plan and wanted the United States to put pressure on Netanyahu. The Trump administration has become increasingly willing to engage directly with Hamas in the hope of ending the devastating conflict. The administration also negotiated the October ceasefire agreement that led to the release of the remaining Israeli hostages. But Netanyahu has increasingly found himself at odds with Trump. The Israeli Prime Minister, who faces elections in October that polls suggest could be closely contested, has become more willing to defy the U.S. president. Netanyahu has also expressed dissatisfaction with Trump's decision to halt the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran, which began in late February, and instead pursue a settlement with Tehran's clerical leadership. And after initially offering only muted criticism of the Gaza peace plan, Netanyahu last week made his position clear. He told his cabinet that he rejected the plan and vowed not to withdraw Israeli troops from the Palestinian territory. Meanwhile, Israel has resumed airstrikes in Gaza after a lull that followed Trump's push for the peace plan. The October ceasefire, however, never completely stopped the violence. According to Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry, at least 1,265 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli operations since the ceasefire came into effect on October 10. The United Nations has previously regarded the ministry's overall casualty figures as generally reliable. The Israeli military, meanwhile, has reported 5 deaths among its forces during Gaza operations over the same period. On October 7, 2023, Hamas launched a surprise attack on Israel, killing around 1,200 people and taking more than 250 hostages. The attack triggered a war that would devastate Gaza and reshape the Middle East. Israel responded with a massive air and ground campaign, vowing to destroy Hamas and bring the hostages home. What followed was months of intense bombardment, ground operations, and repeated fighting across the Gaza Strip. The human cost has been enormous. Gaza's health ministry now reports that more than 73,000 Palestinians have been killed since the war began, while Israel says its military campaign has targeted Hamas and other armed groups. The war has also displaced much of Gaza's population and caused widespread destruction. From Hamas' October 7 attack to Israel's massive military response, the conflict has spiraled into one of the deadliest and most destructive wars in the region's recent history, with peace still proving elusive.